trip coming up?
Well, I mean, obviously, very, very excited. I think we've had a great summer. We really have. You know, we didn't get any workouts in after the season till the end of school because of the NCAA rules and the amount of time guys had to take off and different things like that. So we really started up that first week of summer school with skill work. And then over the last couple of weeks have been mixing in some full team practices to get ready for our trip. But great opportunity for our guys, once in a lifetime experience to go to two great cities in Montreal and Quebec, play 4 very good teams in terms of teams that practice and are all year long are very well coached. Teams that have had success against United States colleges that have gone up there and played. So great opportunity for our guys, especially some of the guys that we're going to be counting on that maybe didn't log as many minutes or different things like that. And for the new guys, you know, Zach Dawson, who sat out, and the 2 freshmen coming in, and Madut, who sat out with the injury. So it's an exciting time because practices have gone well and our guys are steadily improving every day.
Can you speak a little more to the level of competition? What are these teams comparable to?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know in particular each of the 4 teams that we play. We're not going to do any scouting or game preparation. You know, what we do in practice every day is we cover 2 or 3 different actions that are general actions, just so we got the coverages down in case we see them. But Canadian basketball is very good, and these guys are usually a little bit older. They are able to practice year-round, which was pretty good. Maybe something we want to look at a little bit in the United States. And they're very, very well coached. And there are teams, like in particular, Carleton has had great success against U.S. universities going up there and playing and beating some pretty good teams. So, you know, it could vary in the 4 teams that we play. But again, our goal is to play guys, have guys play significant minutes within each individual game, and to use it as an opportunity to try some different things out that we've worked on, and also just to get, you know, better, because they haven't really played much other than these 8 practices that we've had since the end of the season. So one other thing with that, LaQuincy won't play in the games. He's back to going through some workouts now, but he's been basically off that leg since the end of the season. So there's no need with where we're at right now to even take a chance, and that's going to make more playing time available to some other guys and get him 100%. So when we get back to school and we start the 1 month of workouts that we have before practice starts, he'll be full go at that time.
Just to refresh, his left or right?
Oh shit, I can't remember. I don't. Yeah.
I think it was the left.
I think it was a left. Yeah. Lower leg injury. Like the lightning.
Coach, you return more than 90% of your minutes, scoring and rebounding. Have you ever had a team like that? And what kind of luxury does that give you during this offseason as you prepare?
Well, if I've ever had a team like that, maybe close, but probably not. I think we had some veteran teams coming back a couple times and we were very good when we were at Dayton. But it's a great luxury, you know, like in these practices, only 2 guys are learning stuff that's new, you know. So we're able to do some different things and test out some different things within practices, but also that we'll see how it goes when we play on this trip. But our point of emphasis this whole summer was self-development. We need to get better individually first, and that was our whole emphasis in the summer, is individual development, individual improvement. Be really selfish in a good way in terms of getting yourself better and addressing areas that we need to improve on. You know, as a team, we have to, you know, 3 key areas offensively. We have to shoot better from the 3, we have to shoot better from the free throw line, and we got to take care of the basketball. Those 3 things, actually, if you spend time, you can get better at those 3 things on your own, you know, in individual skill stuff. So that was very, very important to us for the summer months.
The three-point line being moved back, you mentioned last year that it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse. How's the practices been with that line?
You know, our guys love to shoot behind the NBA three, so the new line hasn't really impacted it. The one area it is going to show itself is in the corners. You'll see more and more guys stepping out of bounds because their footwork has got to be different from there. You can't get a shot ready with your shooting foot behind you as much. Or if you take a bigger step, now it's a 2 instead of a 3. Because basically that line now is at the same level it is in the NBA. And those guys, you know, throughout the years have worked on that footwork. So it's something that we've had to emphasize during all our drill work on that as well. So other than that, haven't seen that big of a difference. You know, it will be interesting because the teams we play are obviously more accustomed to it. Some of the rules are different. We have to play much faster. It's a 24-second shot clock. You only have 8 seconds to get it over half court. If you get an offensive rebound, there's only 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Now that's also a rule that's being implemented in college basketball this year. If you get an offensive rebound, the clock goes back to 20 instead of 30. So you don't have as much time after an offensive rebound to get it, set it up. You know, you'll see more and more offensive rebound kickouts to threes this year, I think, because of that. So that's something that we've tried to incorporate into our work as well. So, you know, shooting the ball from the 3 is something that we need to improve in. You know, everybody 2 or 3 percentage points higher would make a big difference in our offensive efficiency.
What's your prior experience with international trips of this nature?
Went to Canada one time with our teams at Dayton, and back then the rules allowed you to go actually during the school year, as long as you didn't miss class. So we made a trip we had a bunch of new guys, so we were able to have full practices. We went over Labor Day weekend one time and just played 2 games, but had a great time there. One of my assistants at the time had been an assistant with the Toronto Raptors, and so we went to Toronto, played 2 university teams out there. One time I went with the team at Georgia Tech. We had a really tough one. We went to the Bahamas and went to, what's the big resort there? Atlantis. Yeah, we had a tough time, 5 days in Atlantis, and played 3 teams from the Bahamas, and that was a good time. And then my first year ever coaching, we went to, so this was 1990, went to Australia for 12 days. One of the reasons we did this Canadian trip, one is because obviously we knew the competition would be good. 2, much less expensive than a European trip. And 3, with the long season we had last year, I still wanted our guys to be able to have about 10 days at home once we got back. And it would be the first time, they only get a week off in between the end of the spring semester and the start of the summer. So having those 10 days, we'll be able to, when we come back in the fall and start school, we won't have to adjust our first 4 weeks of workouts prior to practice starting, because they'll have a good break. They'll have the break away from me that they need, and I'll have the break away from them that I need. So we should be pretty good.
Knowing the benefit of having this extra time, have you looked at it as just a bonus, or do you really try to take advantage of the cram many concepts over everything?
Well, again, one of the earlier questions, there's not a lot of different concepts that we have to cover. There's a couple new schematic things that we're going to look at and see if it's something that we see benefits for moving forward into the year. But we got some guys that need to play. Zach Dawson, Madud, Mayan, Antoon, Ray Sean. Those guys need to get out there and compete and play, and we're going to do some different things to make sure that they're playing 20 plus minutes in those games. And I think we have a pretty good system in place of what we're going to do. But, you know, it is, when we looked at some objectives heading into this trip, you know, there may be a little more on the offensive end in terms of some stuff we were looking at, but, you know, we still every day work on our core defensive stuff and our rebounding and different things like that. And we wanted to see if some of the skill stuff that we really emphasized for 10 weeks was taking hold, and we're pleased with where we're at with that stuff right now.
Coach, last week it was announced you guys are playing Florida State in the Orange Bowl Classic. How important was that to get a top-tier program on the schedule this year?
Well, you know, with the fact of playing another ACC team in Boston College at home and then playing Florida State within a couple-hour drive of our campus, you know, it was great for our non-conference scheduling. You know, obviously one of our goals in the non-conference is to upgrade the schedule a little bit. Sometimes it's going to be with more numbers in terms of where these teams are going to fall in the net rankings, where they've been in the past. For example, like a Wofford, all right, that may not have maybe the cachet of the name, but anybody that knows college basketball knows how good they are and how good they're going to be and how good they are every single year. You know, we run into some challenges in the non-conference scheduling for a couple reasons. There are some leagues that have some numeric rules put on their non-conference scheduling that, because of where we've been at as a program over the last few years, they're not able to schedule us because our numbers are too high. Even though last year our net ranking at the end of the year was 80, 82, and we have 10 out of our top 11 guys coming back, different conferences have an analytical formula that they have to use in terms of their non-conference scheduling. So it's made playing some of those teams much more difficult. You know, really for us, it's the ACC and the Big Ten are really the only conferences, unless we want to go out and play in California in the middle of the week, which isn't a great idea for our guys academically or transitionally with the games and different things like that. So it's been a little bit more of a challenge. So we're close, but our non-conference strength of schedule will be significantly better than it has been over the last probably 4 or 5 years.
Any other teams you can mention?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, when you look at Boston College and you look at Florida State, and it's great to play Florida State. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the college coaches, and probably none more than for Leonard and what he's done there. You know, he's won every place he's been at, and he's done it in a variety of ways. The guy can coach his tail off, there's no doubt about it, and they're going to be really good, so it'll be a great challenge for us. You know, when you add those two games to just who we're playing in the tournament, we're opening up against a team that 2 years ago was in the Final Four. You know what I mean? Colorado State's going to be really good. Nebraska's going to be really good because they're a team that can quickly reload, and Freddie has done that already at Nebraska. And then the team that, again, maybe a great example of the numbers, like New Mexico State. We could potentially play them in the second round of that tournament. Their net ranking last year was like 21, you know what I mean? So that's at the same par as playing, you know, a University of Michigan or someone like that. Now, it doesn't maybe have the same name recognition, but when it comes to that selection Sunday and postseason, they look at the numbers. And you have to do a really good job. It's scientific and an art form combined when it comes to scheduling. And unfortunately, because of some of our past numbers, we don't have the freedom to do everything that we want, but we're going to get there. I know that for sure. And this year will be a good step in that direction.
Who's one guy that has kind of broke out this summer, kind of more above the rest? Who stood out in their development?
Well, I think Antunes made some great strides. He's had as good a summer as anybody that we have. He's done a really, really good job in terms of being more aggressive, playing with more confidence, using the strength that he's gained. You know, this is a full year of strength training that he's had for the first time. You know, I like our freshmen as well. You know, and they've been here a little limited in terms of time in comparison. And then, you know, just those other two guys in Madud and Zach who didn't get to play last year, having them out there every day, where our eyes are on them a little more, because the simple fact is when you're on the scout team and you're in the middle of the season, they don't get a lot of live reps. They get a lot of work, but they don't get a lot of live reps. And watching them play, I've been impressed with both those guys. I think that both those guys are going to have, you know, Madud's only a freshman, and Zach's only a sophomore. Two good, really young players for us.